Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back, and hope everybody's having a good day out there today. And as usual, much appreciated you guys taking a little time out of your day to watch the video. And please, if you guys haven't had a chance to, hit that subscribe button. That'd be much appreciated. We're getting ready to have probably a big giveaway next week when we hit 55,000 subscribers. And much appreciated if you guys would help me out to reach that goal pretty quick. But anyway, today guys, we're going to give you some juice, some good tips and advice on when and where to throw an oversized, outsized jerkbait above the norm that most people don't throw. It's one of my favorite type of jerkbaits to throw. It produces bigger fish by far than a normal jerkbait. And I've got a lot of time on the water with it, and I'm going to give you guys some good hardcore hogging tips about it. But real quick, just one thing I wanted to remind everybody, give you guys an update on the Blocked Old School jig. We're just about caught up with them there at Baitworks. You guys know we got swamped when we first came out with them. We sold over 4,000 the first week, and the whole time process is very time consuming, but we're about caught up, and we're gonna basically, they're gonna be available. We're gonna put them back up on the website for sale again, but right now they've been listed as out of stock. But I'll give you guys a heads up when we got a good stockpile of them coming up. And moving forward, you know, we're not going to have these delays like we had, because we've gotten everything, all the ducks in a row, and getting them out pretty quick now. So much appreciated all the support launching the Blocked Old School jig. And it's getting about time for the jig too, man. Just another 3 or 4 weeks, and that's going to be in the heart of the jig season for pitching and flipping. So okay guys, let's talk a little bit about these oversized jerk baits. Oversized jerk baits, for people that fish jerk baits, most people don't go to an oversized jerk bait. I'm going to guess that most people stay with just the average size 4.5, 4 3/4 inch jerk bait, or smaller most of the time. That, from everybody I see, just observations of mine, sales, that type of stuff. But there's a sort of a niche around the country about when you can throw these big oversized jerk baits and really take advantage of the big fish on them. And we're coming up on the key time, guys. The key time to throw these things is in the pre-spawn, so I'm going to give you guys some tips on that. So the one I want to talk about here right off the bat is the Megabass Canada. This is the oversized jerk bait. It's around 7 inches long. This bait, it's got a, just the same type of lip on it, but on 8 to 10 pound test line, which I throw this bait on 8 to 10 most of the time in the pre-spawn. You're going to get it down based upon how you have it weighted into that 7 to 9 foot zone. And if you weight it where it sinks slow, you can actually get it down as deep as you want to. But for most applications, when I'm fishing an oversized jerk bait, I'm wanting it down sort of in that 5 to 8 foot zone. That's where those big pre-spawners live. It's a little bit unique. It's sort of a flat-sided jerk bait, wide, flat, elongated like that, almost like a flat-sided crankbait, wide body, just a big fish bait, resembles a big gizzard shad like that. So anyway, the time on this guy is, like I said, it's all about water temperature and to some degree water clarity. The magical water temperature that you want to go as far, to an oversized jerkbait is once that water temperature hits 55 degrees. I have found in most applications that they don't bite it very well if the water is below 50 degrees, and then they sort of stop biting it once that water temperature hits 70. So you got this window of time between 55 to 70 degrees, and that varies depending on what part of the country you're going to be in. It could be, if you're fishing in the southern states like Texas and that type of stuff, it could be, as early as, right now to catch them on it. And if you're fishing, from my part of the country or a little bit further up north, you're usually talking sometime in the late March to early April time frame. So there's a pretty small window. Although you can catch fish on this thing during the post-spawn, I like it best when those big females first start moving shallow. Normally those big females are going to start moving shallow when that water temperature hits 55 degrees. And when I'm talking about shallow, I'm not talking about up on the bank. The times that these oversized jerk baits work real good, and by the way, Baitworks here in Springfield, Missouri has a great selection of these Megabass Canadas. I'll include the Baitworks link in the description. If you guys want to order some through there, it's a good way to support the channel here. So put that in the description here. But when I'm talking about fishing it shallow, I'm not talking about like throwing it up on the bank. I'm talking about fishing it shallower for suspended fish, because guys, in the early pre-spawn, when that water temperature first starts getting up into the 50s, that is when the biggest fish in the lake suspend the shallowest. So if you've got water temperatures that are in the 40s, you may have a bunch of those big fish out just roaming in the middle of the lake, you know, just in either rogue individual fish or small wolf packs. Once that water temperature starts hitting that 55-degree mark, these big ones, they will move up to like channel swing banks, channel swing points, bluff banks, and bluff points, pre-spawn staging areas, and they start suspending shallower. They start suspending in that 5 to 10 foot zone. They may have been suspended out 5 to 10 feet or 5 to 15 or 20 way out off the bank in the wintertime, but there's something about the increasing water temperatures, increasing daylight hours, it moves those bass up to those pre-spawn banks, and that is when you can mop up with them on these big jerk baits. So that's the first thing I look for. If you're fishing a grass lake, that type of stuff, concentrate basically on the grass flats in the creek, like any type of a grass edge, or out over the flats. If you have deeper water over the top of them, that's a good staging area. About anywhere else, you know, your channel swing points, bluff points, secondary points, all that type of stuff are going to be good staging areas. So that's sort of what you want to look for on them. The next thing you have to realize on these big jerk baits is they're very situational when it comes to weather. In order for a bass to hit these big 7-inch jerk baits, you have to have the optimum weather conditions. And the weather conditions that are the best for this situation is some type of a southerly airflow, like a prefrontal condition where you got like a southerly southwest wind, that type of stuff. And I normally like a little bit of moderate breeze to it, like a 10 to 15 mile an hour wind from the south, air temperatures normal or above normal, and the more clouds the better. This bait right here by far produces the best on cloudy days. All the great days I've had on it, and I've had some really good days on an oversized jerk bait. I've caught a lot of 7 to 9 pound fish on these baits. Almost, I'm going to guess 90% of them came on heavy overcast or light rainy type days, water temperatures in the mid 50s, water visibilities, and that's another factor, water visibilities anywhere between 3 to 8 feet. That's another thing about it. You want fairly clear water with this thing, even though it puts off a lot of, you know, displacement in the water. I find that it works better in clear water, especially under these optimum feeding conditions that make the fish aggressive by sight. And that again is the combination of the moderate to strong wind, heavy overcast, clear water, you know, prefrontal conditions. It all adds together to make the bass bite this. Now, the way that you want to work this pretty much is just about like a regular jerk bait, except I work it, you know, at a slow to moderate cadence on there. One of the things that you're going to find out about a big fish is you don't catch a lot of big fish on a jerk bait if you're working that jerk bait pretty quick. If you're jerk, pause, that type of stuff. What you want to do is you want to get this bait down its maximum depth, so make a long cast with it. Try to get it down into that 5 to 8 foot zone. And once you get it down into that 5 to 8 foot zone, don't necessarily let it stop, but just work it slow. Work it with slow twitches of the rod tip and a small pause. Slow twitches of the rod tip. Try to keep it down in that maximum zone as long as you can, because that's when you're going to catch the big ones. You're not going to catch big fish when the thing's on its way down, and you're not going to catch many big fish when it's up. Needs to be down at the maximum depth in that slow period. So anyway, guys, give them a try. Like I said, just if you're locked into traditional size jerkbait, try these bigger ones. You know, the Perfect 10 Rogue is another good one if you don't, you know, like the Megabass as much. I prefer the Megabass Kanata or the Megabass LBO 100. One of those two. There's probably some other jerkbaits out there that are big too, but this is, I guarantee, this will get you a big bite right here for sure. Again, like I said, you can get them at Bait Works, Springfield, Missouri. Link in the description here. So anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated, and we'll be back soon with another one. See you.